Okay, this is video number 1 for triangle congruence that will accompany the worksheet also located on Schoology. After we go through and do this video, please make sure that you work on the you try section, get a little bit of practice for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and follow my steps over here. What I want to be able to do is try to determine if the triangles are congruent to each other. So remember, we only have 5 things that this could be. So, and that is immediately above this on the worksheet. I also have it identified over here off to the side. So remember, we only have those 5. Right? So if it's going to fit into one, if it's going to fit at all, it's going to fit into one of those. Sometimes what I prefer to do when I go through and try to determine if they're congruent or not is first thing, add anything else into the picture that you can, as long as you can back it up with some vocabulary words. Typically, we're thinking only at this point, you may have some stuff in the future that you get to do that's a little bit differently. At this point, I'm only thinking of reflexive sides or vertical angles. That's it. So if I take a look back at my picture, I don't have reflexive sides. Those sides would belong in both triangles. So it would be a line segment, like kind of down the middle, if you want to think about it that way. So I don't have that. However, I do have 2 lines that are intersecting. So EJ is intersecting with FH at point G, which means I have vertical angles. So I'm going to have this angle on the left-hand side. I'm going to use a different marker than what I already have for the other ones. And I've got this angle on the right-hand side. So those 2 guys are going to be congruent. Now, I'm not writing a full formal proof. I'm just trying to determine if they are congruent. All right, so now I added more information in that I'm allowed to. So that's step 1's taken care of. So I need to take a look and see if any of my triangle congruences are satisfied. All right, so what I like to do is I like to think about tracing through the picture itself to determine if I have any of the 5 that's happening. So I'm going to deal with the triangle on the left-hand side, and I'm going to start at an empty corner. So at any corner that doesn't have a marking in it right now. So I'm going to start at angle F, since there's no marker in that corner about being congruent. What I want to do is I want to trace through this triangle. I want to make sure I don't have any gaps. So you can either go from F to E first, or you can go from F to G first. And I think I'm going to go from F to G. So if I go from F to G, notice that I land at the green corner first. So that means that I would land at an angle first. So I would land at an angle. Then I'm going to keep tracing across the triangle. If I keep tracing, notice the next thing I land at is another angle that's been marked. So I have to pay attention to the markers. Then I want to finish my loop. I want to trace across. Notice that I traced across a side that was marked. So on the left-hand side, I have the situation of AAS. All right. Hopefully, we can get the same thing to happen on the other one. We got to make sure we go through the same markers. So if I went from F to G first, which I did, so from F to G, notice that I started at an empty corner and I went to a green angle. I'm going to see if I can follow that order on the other side. So I'm going to start at an empty corner, H, and I'm going to go to, actually let's use a different color so it doesn't match with something we've got there. If I start at H, I'm going to go to the green corner. Okay, so I can go to the green corner. That'll work. That is also then an angle happens first. Okay, back to the other picture. After we went to G, then we went from the green corner to the red angle. All right, let's see if we can do that over here. So I'm at the green corner. Now, I don't have any choices. I can't go back up to H. Do I land at the red corner now? Yeah, I do. Notice it's another angle also, and it's the same angle marker. Then, finishing my loop on the other side, I went from the red angle across the side that was marked. All right, well, I don't really have an option over on this guy. So If I travel back through my loop, notice that I went through the exact same marker. This is AAS. Notice that what I have for my triangle on the left and my triangle on the right are the exact same thing. So I do believe that these two triangles are congruent to each other. All right, so I need to write, well, I've already got my reason, so I may as well go ahead and state my reason here. So my congruence condition, all right, so I've got my congruence statement. Well, that's going to be naming the triangles, so I'll come back to that one in a minute. I do know my congruence condition, though. My congruence condition is the AAS triangle congruence that I just figured out, and I got to work for both of the triangles. Okay, my congruence statement, I think I'm just going to name my triangles in the same order that I looped through. So the blue triangle, I started at F, I went to G, and then I finished at E as I looped back. Is congruent to, okay, think about where I started. I started at H, then I went to the green corner, which was G, and then I finished at J and then looped back to H. Okay, so there's my congruence statement and congruence condition. Now, my transformation, this is in general. Now, if this was on a coordinate plane, I would expect more details from you guys. However, at this point, I just want to know what I have to do to try to get one of the triangles onto the other one. And I'm pretty sure that if I rotate either the blue or the orange triangle, if I rotate it around point G, I can get the two triangles to land on top of each other. So I would rotate, and I think it's about 180 degrees about point G. I can probably get the two triangles to line up.